Genuine question, what is this series even called? Is it the 28 series? Do you just go with the title of the first movie and just call them the 28 Days Later movies? The 28 Later series, since it's all 28 blank later? I mean, what do I even title this video? With 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple hitting theaters, I went and watched all the other movies for the first time, by the way, and yeah, now I'm gonna rank them. And this, of course, is just my ranking. These are just my opinions, but I'd love to hear yours, and let's get started with the film in last place, 28 Weeks Later. I don't think this is a bad movie, but it is so clearly the weakest film in the series. It's the only one that didn't have Danny Boyle or Alex Garland involved, and yeah, it really shows. And yeah, they did have executive producer credits, but it's only because this is a sequel to their film. They weren't actually involved in the creative elements. The film starts off all right. I think the opening is pretty good, and they kind of catch you up on what's gone down with the progression of the virus. And it turns out it's actually been contained, and the US military has stepped in to kind of help the UK rebuild. Apparently, there are no more infected, but survivors are still required to stay within a certain area for their safety. And so far, I'm actually kind of into it. I like seeing how humanity might rebuild after a near apocalypse, and I'm curious to see how things will inevitably get bad again. And the way things get bad again is by two characters doing the dumbest thing that they could possibly do, which of course backfires. These two kids, like 12 and 17-ish, whatever, they just get back to their country after a zombie apocalypse crazy thing, knowing all these people were dying. Things were brutal. You got the military there. All this crazy type of shit going on. They decide, hey, let's just leave the safe zone. Maybe, hopefully, stumble across a mode of transportation. Go a few more miles down the road. Go to our old home and let's just sneak around and grab some stuff. I just really can't stand it when, in order for a film's events to take place, they require the characters to just be complete idiots. And yeah, that's what happens here. And you might say, oh, they're kids. First of all, 12 and 17, they should know better. Second of all, wouldn't that make them more scared? Like, oh, yo, there were like zombies here and stuff. Maybe we don't leave the military safe zone? But anyway, those kids find their mother who was lost. It's a whole thing. And she's actually infected, but asymptomatic. Okay, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, the military shows up, brings them back, and then eventually things escalate. So yeah, this film actually does do some interesting things, like having the mom be asymptomatic but still a carrier of the virus, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Another potentially interesting thing is the dad of those two children. He gets infected, and they show the dad still remembers his family, and you know, that could lead to some interesting things, but here they just have him follow the kids, pop up here and there throughout the whole entire movie, and then eventually he tries to kill them, and that's kind of it. Honestly, I did not care for like the first 40 minutes of this movie, and it does eventually get better, but then it's just kind of okay. This one is the most standard zombie movie, and it really sticks out from the rest of the films in the franchise, just not in a good way. There is a ton of action though, and you know, it was pretty well done. I especially like the scene where someone successfully tilts a helicopter down and chops up a bunch of the infected. That was pretty cool. At the end of the film, they tease that the infection might have spread to mainland Europe, but that also doesn't go anywhere because it's pretty much undone in the next movie with like the text in the beginning of 28 Years Later. So yeah, that goes nowhere. Like I said, not necessarily a bad movie. It's just a standard zombie movie. But when you look at the other films in the franchise, which do such interesting things with this zombie genre, this one looks worse by comparison. So that's why it's in last place. The top three was a little tough for me. I could rearrange these in any order, and honestly, I'd be happy however they turned out. But for today, at number 3, 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later is obviously a great film. I was surprised by how much I liked it, but today I'm putting it at number 3 just based on rewatchability. It is super rewatchable. I'm not saying it isn't, but when you look at the next two, I'd probably revisit those before revisiting this one. When 28 Days Later first came out, it was kind of revolutionary with a lot of the stuff that it did. It completely subverted expectations of what a zombie film is. For most of the film, it takes a different approach from other zombie movies and treats it almost more like a drama, just kind of following a group of people kind of dealing with this new life that they were just thrust into, instead of like other zombie films that are more like an action horror movie. I mean, one character literally woke up and the apocalypse had already happened, which is a very interesting take in my opinion. There's a ton of great emotional moments, and it shows how some characters have hope, some characters don't, and there's character development throughout the whole film. It actually shows the inciting incident of how the virus spread, which I feel like we don't get in other zombie films. It just kind of happens. I love the look of this film. It's just super gritty and just looks low budget, even though it isn't. And a big part of that is because they filmed on consumer level cameras. The way it's shot and edited, of course, only add to that gritty feel. Plus, I mean, it is a zombie movie where people are dying and all types of crazy shit is happening. So naturally, it is already going to be a gritty, grimy film. I also love the close-ups of the infected and just how intense it all looks. Like the shots, like really zoomed in on their eyes. Looks great. Now, I'm not sure if this was new at the time, but the main villains here are actually humans. When we get to the military men, you kind of know where things are heading. Like, you kind of get it, and they build tension without building tension. Like, what I mean is, in most other films, the music kind of changes. There's shots of characters, like, being scared, and then you kind of, like, the movie's telling you what to feel. They don't tell you what to feel here, but you still manage to feel that sense of dread. And I thought they did it great. I mean, they almost had me questioning, like, are these people just really wanting to help? Which we, of course, find out, yeah, they don't actually just want to help. I thought it was very well done, and eventually it leads to a pretty great climax with a lot of fun action. And then a little bit later, the movie ends on kind of a hopeful note, which is also rare for zombie films. The cast here is great, and that goes for all of the movies. Even 28 weeks later, these movies just have great casting. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland really did something amazing here, and I can't believe it took me this long to watch it. Before I move on, I just want to quickly mention that scene where the blood drips right into Frank's eye. Oh my god. I don't care. Even if the virus was not a thing, if I'm walking, an old dead person's blood, maybe he's been there for weeks, I don't know, drips right into my eyeball, obviously you got to take my eye, but this whole side of my face, everything, just carve it out. I don't want it anymore. I couldn't live knowing that was inside my body. So yeah. Anyway, at number 2, 28 years later. I actually missed this one last year in theaters, and I'm so sad that I did, because I know it looked gorgeous on the big screen, because even on streaming, it still looked really good. This movie has a great opening. Teletubbies, hell yeah. There's some dark humor, which we get a little bit more of at the end of this film, and then that carries on into the entire next film. Most of this movie, you're wondering, how the hell does this opening connect to anything going on, since they don't give you that answer until the last scene of the film. And I actually really like this. It was pretty unique, to me at least, and it of course led to an amazing sequel. The opening actually took place at the start of the virus spreading, and when we get to the present, we see that the virus has once again been contained to the UK, but this time around, all of the rest of the world just kind of abandons them and decides to let them fend for themselves. Before we keep talking about this one, earlier I mentioned that 28 weeks later set up that the virus had gotten to mainland Europe. You could go back, do a prequel, because this film, they said in the text that it was contained once again. Do 28 months later, have it be that story of it gets to Europe, they contain it again to the UK. I'd watch it. The main characters in this film live in a small town on an island just off of the mainland, and they go there sometimes for supplies. I really enjoy seeing how the people have adapted, but also how the infected have adapted and also evolved. We see that there's different types now. There's the slow ones, the alphas, of course, and we learn later that the infected could also reproduce. I'm curious if they make another movie after the Bone Temple, if we'll get answers to that, because the child came out uninfected. I'm curious to see where that goes. Once again in this series, we get a film that is a very different type of zombie film. This is more of like a coming of age story with the zombie apocalypse, infected stuff being a catalyst. We see Spike's first hunt, and we also see him come to terms with the fact that, hey, my dad isn't doing this thing that I feel needs to be done. I'm going to take it into my hands, and he does that, and he tries to help his mom. This journey that Spike eventually goes on to find help for his mom leads us to my favorite character in the franchise. I'm sure a lot of other people's favorite now, Dr. Kelson. Dr. Kelson has been finding his own way to honor the dead. He's been collecting the bones of infected and non-infected and building these bone temples, which is, of course, the title of the next film. And he's also been studying the virus and the infected people. Dr. Kelson reveals to Spike that his mother is going to die, and we get more growth from Spike because he realizes this and knows that, hey, this is just something that happens in life, and he has to accept it. With the doctor's help, Spike finds a way to honor his mother. He adds her skull to the bone temple and puts it at the very top, and it's kind of messed up if you think about it. His mom was just euthanized, and here he is with her freshly cleaned skull, but it's also such a sweet moment, and it's very well made and acted, everything, and it also hit emotionally. But then, yeah, if you think about it, like, it's just crazy, but it's a crazy world that these characters live in. So, yeah, it all worked, surprisingly. But not surprisingly, because look at the filmmakers. Like 28 Days Later, they utilized some unique filmmaking techniques, like the stuff that they did with iPhones. The film has great, very tense moments, like that scene where Jamie and Spike are trying to run back to the island. And I don't know what it is about the causeway, but just like low, shallow water, like on a bridge, like I just really wanted to run across it. I don't know what it was. It was just really cool to me. I really like this movie, and I'm surprised that there's a good chunk of people who were kind of mixed on it or underwhelmed. Like, yeah, I understand it could be weird. Some of the filmmaking techniques could be weird. There were times where I was watching and it felt like I was watching a video game cutscene or gameplay or whatever, but that only added to the experience for me. I was hooked from beginning to end. But at number 1, 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I just dropped a full review on this one about a week ago, so I won't be going as in depth, but check out the review for more. Seriously, please go check it out. It did not get the views that I really hoped it would. The Bone Temple continues stories set up in the last film. It tells them separately for most of the movie, then brings them together in an amazing finale, and we eventually get a sad but very satisfying conclusion. Then after that, they give us something that fans have been asking for since the last movie came out. We get Jim back from 28 Days Later, and yeah, Jim, we got all these Jimmies, but they already had someone named Jim, so it's just Jimmy, 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 I don't know if I named them all, and then Jim. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, we get to meet Jim's daughter, but we don't see Selena. So I am curious, did they just not get the actress? Or did something happen with the character? Is she dead? Was she just somewhere else? But I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out if we get another movie. Everything with Dr. Kelson and the Alpha Samson was perfect. If the film was just them, even if it was longer, I mean, I would still love it. I could just watch them and their relationship and the growth of their relationship forever. And Dr. Kelson's performance when he's pretending to be Satan is one of my favorite sequences in a film, and I don't even know how long. I love that shit. R.I.P. to Dr. Kelson. GOAT. And also, I really hope we get more Samson. I'm sure we will, but yeah, it seemed like the doctor completely healed him of the infection. Very interested to see where that goes. At some points, the stuff with the Jimmies wasn't doing a whole lot for me, and that could be a reason to put this one at number 3, since there wasn't really anything in the other 2 films that didn't work for me. But because the highs in this one were so high for me, even the stuff with the Jimmies doesn't really knock it down, because it wasn't bad. It was just, not as good. So yeah, I'm gonna have this one at number 1. So that was my ranking of all the 28 Days Later films. Let me know yours, and please go check out my Bone Temple review. It would mean a lot, and it definitely needs the help. And please subscribe. I talk about movies, video games, TV, and more, or go check out some of my other stuff. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.